Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. We are studying it as a chemical properties of the alkyl and aryl halides. Today we will be studying specifically a property of aryl halide, that is electrophilic substitution reaction. This particularly we are carrying it for aromatic nucleus, right? So actually we studied the electrophilic substitution reaction in 11th standard for benzene, like nitration, sulfonation, chlorination, bromination, alkylation and acylation. The same 6 reactions we studied it even for the hydrocarbon toluene, right? The same 6 reactions we will be studying it for the halogens as well as for the rest of the chapters also. So once if I learn it for one specific reaction, it will become easier for me to do it for rest of the chapters, because the reagents that are used for particular reactions are fixed. Like for nitration, the first one we will carry it out. When I want to go for the nitration is specifically carried out by concentrated HNO3 plus concentrated H2SO4, right? The reagent is fixed. Now when you are having it as a chlorobenzene, that means already a first substitution is done on it. Halogen is there, any halogen. It's not necessary that it should be chlorobenzene, it can be any of the halogen. Any halogen, it's an electron donating group. Halogens are electron donating groups in electrophilic substitution reaction of aryl compounds. Hence, second substitution will take place on ortho and para positions. It takes place only on ortho-para position. That means when you are having it as a chlorobenzene and taking it for the nitration, concentrated HNO3, concentrated H2SO4. On nitration, that means it is going to produce NO2 plus. That NO2 plus will react on ortho plus para position. It's going to produce orthonitro-chlorobenzene, and this one is para-nitro-chlorobenzene. Right? So that means this particular, whenever the electrophilic substitutions are carried out, they will be carried out only on ortho-para position. Maybe any of it, the 6 reactions that we are going to do it, all the 6 will be taking place on ortho-para position. But again, for rest of the chapters, reagents are fixed. So if I learn out the reagents, it will become much easier for me also to do it for the rest of the chapters also. Particularly for this chapter, it's nitration produces orthonitro-chlorobenzene. For nitration, the reagent used is concentrated HNO3 and H2SO4. Right? The second reaction that we will be having it's a sulfonation. Now sulfonation means, particularly for this, the reagent is concentrated H2SO4 plus SO3, that is known as oleum, H2SO7, right? So when we take it as an chlorobenzene reacted with concentrated H2SO4 plus SO3, it gets converted into SO3H on ortho plus para. It produces orthochlorobenzene sulfonic acid or parachlorobenzene sulfonic acid. Chlorine is less reactive, so we come as an orthochloro and parachloro. But the substitution, second substitution is of SO3H. If we go it for chlorination itself, so for chlorination we need Cl2 in presence of FeCl3, or you can take it as Cl2 in presence of dark, in absence of light. Dark means in absence of light. We get it as Cl2 FeCl3, we get it as a substitution on ortho plus para-dichlorobenzene. Right? Now, in place of chlorination, if you are going it for bromination, bromination is carried out in presence of Br2 in FeBr3. So the product you are going to get it is the same way. Cl Br2 FeBr3, the product you will get it is a orthobromo plus parabromo. Right? We get it as an ortho-para substitution. It's a fixed. Right? Fourth, fifth and sixth, that are known as alkylation and acylation. That particular reaction is also termed as FNC reaction. Friedelt and Kraft alkylation. Friedelt and Kraft alkylation. Alkylation means we will be having it as an the reagent Rx in presence of anhydrous AlCl3, chlorobenzene, Rx anhydrous AlCl3. The product you are going to get it is a ortho plus para position. Right? So reactions, they are the same, ortho plus para product, but only the main thing is reagents. So every reaction, every chapter when we will be having it, reagent is fixed. We should only know what will be the position where they should react. Right? Now this is alkylation, and we are also having it as an FNC acylation. Acylation means we will be having it RCOX plus anhydrous AlCl3. So particularly when this reaction is carried out, RCOX anhydrous AlCl3, the product we get it is a COR attached to it. R can be any alkyl group, any long chain carbon atom. So we will be getting it as an ortho-para reactions. Right? Okay. Till now, in this chapter we were studying it all. In the compound we were having it as an either single halogen containing compound going it for the reaction, or single halogen containing compound we were producing it. Preparation. That means we were doing it all the reactions of monohalides. The next topic we are having it, that is of the polyhalides. Now this particular topic we are having it only in a brief form. We don't have a details of it. Right? In a brief means a short things that are being given. Few points. Certain things I have to learn out. That means particularly when we are going to talk about these polyhalide compounds, we are going to have it as an preparation, where they are being used and what are their specific harmful effects when they are in the contact with the human bodies. Till now we have studied the useful effects. Right? We will also see that certain polyhalide compounds, they are harmful to the humans also. Right? So let us see it one by one. The few polyhalide compounds are there for us. We'll see it one by one, the polyhalide compounds. Now for the polyhalide compounds, the first one we are being given out, dichloromethane. Dichloromethane means we will be having it as an CH2Cl2. Right? Now the first question is, first point of it, not as a question, first point of it, we will be having it, how to prepare. preparation. We will be having it as an CH2 Cl2 to be prepared. So we will take it as CH3Cl, chlorination in presence of sunlight. This is known as free radical reaction. The product we will be getting it as CH2Cl2 plus HCl. This is the particular reaction that we can say that we can use it for the preparation of it. Right? Now, what is its use? Then we can say that dichloromethane, it is used as an solvent for paint remover. It is used as an solvent for the paint remover. It is also used as propellant in aerosols. It is used in solvents as a manufacturing in drugs. So these are the way, specifically you can say that it is used as, in general, used as solvents, right, in removal of paint, maybe in the aerosols, or maybe for manufacturing of the drugs. Everywhere it is used as an solvents. But what are its harmful effects? The harmful effects is when you are coming in contact with it, it depresses the central nervous system. That means the person, its central nervous system, thinking power is being damaged. Right? It not only does that effect, but if you are inhaling it for a smaller quantity, or when you are expose yourself into it, then even hearing or visualization is decreased. So that means it affects our hearing and vision power. But if it is to a small extent, if you are exposed to the larger atmospheric component, that means a large amount of it is present, then it can affect our numbness in the finger. It can, toes, fingers, they don't work, dizziness is created, headache is created in the human bodies. Right? Now, if these compound, if it comes in direct contact with the skin, then it burns the skin. It produces a mild redness on the skin. Right? So you should not come directly in, or directly don't touch this component. It will be harming to the skin. Not only that much, if this particular component comes in the contact of the eyes, it burns cornea. That means a person can become blind when this comes, the dichloromethane comes in directly to the eyes. So this compound is not only used, but it is also been very, very harmful to the human beings. Right? So that is your first one. The second compound that we are having it, that is chloroform. No, this compound, all of you are aware about it. Right? What is a chloroform? Right. It's a compound that is used for anesthesia. Right? But we will see what are the effects. Right? But before that, what will be this chloroform is a common name. What is its IUPAC name? It's a trichloromethane. How can we produce it? We are having it as in two methods. Preparation. We can take it as in CH2Cl2 itself. For further free radical, we will get it as CHCl3. Right? It's a second step, further free radical reaction. But in place of that, if you take it as in CH3CHO in presence of Cl2 NaOH, that means this compound will react and produces NaOCl. This two reacts to produce NaOCl, which reacts with it to produce CHCl3 plus HCOO Na, chloroform. This is the one reaction, right? We know it, as already told by you, that it was used as an anesthetic purposes, but nowadays it has been replaced by ethers. Initially, before operation, always anesthesia was given to the person so that it goes for a deep sleep, right? But it was having some drawbacks. So nowadays it's a given out local anesthesia. That means only particular that body part, whichever body part is being is being given out with the ether, only that much nervous system is being depressed. So word is used as local anesthesia in place of ether. Now why it become necessary? The reason is when this chloroform is exposed to the atmosphere, chloroform CHCl3, when it is exposed to the atmosphere in presence of light, this component reacts itself to get converted into carbonyl chloride, COCl2, right? This is known as phosgene, right? To carry out this reaction, it's a COCl2 plus it will be giving out the compound as H2O, right? So this compound, it's becoming very harmful. Not H2O, it will be producing it as an HCl gas, right? Now this being very harmful to the human body, if it is being inhaled, a person can go into a death, right? So to avoid this effect, you can say that by adding 1% ethanol in it, you can reduce the tendency of reaction, or store this chloroform into a dark bottle in a dark place away from the air. Then you can avoid it, right? But it becomes difficult, or if it has not been there used for a longer time, this reaction would have taken, no one can come to know it how much phosgene is being produced, and that is why its alternate option is being used as an local anesthesia, as an ethers, right? So that is the chloroform that is there, which is used, right? Now the third component that we are having it, again that is a one of it as an iodoform, which is also restricted to the applications, right? Third one is iodoform, CHI3. It is termed as triiodomethane. Like chloroform, it can be produced COCH3 with I2NaOH. This time it will produce NaOI, right? And the compound will produce CH3 COONA plus CHI3, iodoform. It was used as an antiseptic purpose. This was used as an antiseptic purpose, but nowadays it's been avoided. The reason is the smell. The compound which is having it as in some particular pungent smell, it's not been prepared in because this iodoform itself is not an antiseptic. It releases the iodine. This iodoform, it releases the iodine, which works as an antiseptic. So because of its pungent smell, it's been avoided to produce iodoform. Some other components have been produced which releases the iodine, so this has been restricted, right? The fourth component, that is it's a carbon tetrachloride, also termed as tetrachloromethane. This is IUPAC, while this is common name. Its formula is CCl4, right? How to prepare it? Again, CHCl3, when exposed to the air, sunlight, in presence of chlorine free radical, CCl4 formation takes place. So it's a one more step of the free radical to produce the carbon tetrachloride, right? Now What is the effect of the carbon tetrachloride? Now, it was used particularly for preparing this CCl4 is used to prepare CCl2F2, that is particularly as an coolant in the refrigerator or air condition, known as chlorofluorocarbon, right? It is also used in chemicals and pharmaceutical industry as a solvent. Before certain years, this was particularly used in industries as well as in the home as a local purpose for removing the spots, right, for dry cleaning purposes, right. It was used in the industry also as well as in the household purpose as a dry clean purpose, that is to remove these spots. But this created problems. They were not aware about it on those days, but nowadays it has been founded that the exposure to the carbon tetrachloride takes a person having a problem of liver cancer, and that's the reason why nowadays it has been very less used, right. No, normally we can say that you are giving the clothes for the dry cleaning purposes. The alternate options are there, but if that option is not available, then they particularly used carbon tetrachloride as a dry clean purpose. But it's a very restricted use because its exposure can take the person to the liver cancer, right. Additional to it, it was also used as fire extinguisher in those days, right. But exposed to the larger amount to the fire extinguisher means it can cause a problem to the human life. So it was, nowadays it is not being used, right. It can damage your nervous systems, the cells of the nervous systems permanently. This can also not only as a liver cancer but even to the nervous system when it's been disturbed. That means it's very harmful to the human beings. Even this is used for preparation of chlorofluorocarbon, which is used as a refrigerant. When it is going into the atmosphere, it's destroying the ozone layer, which is harming us. Harming to the ozone layer allows the ultraviolet radiation to reach to the Earth's surface to a very large extent, which is causing skin cancers, right. So by depleting ozone also, so it is having a very major effects. So carbon tetrachloride should be used on a minimum purpose, right. Particularly, as we already wrote that it is used in preparation of the chlorofluorocarbon. Our next compound that we are going to study, that is nothing else but freon. That means the compound itself. Freon is actually a methane plus ethane forming polyhalide compounds. A mixture of methane ethane forming polyhalide compounds are known as freons. Particularly in it, CF2Cl2, that is fluorochlorocarbon. It's prepared. This compound is prepared from carbon tetrachloride. Already in the previous topic we told it that it is prepared from carbon tetrachloride by Stuart's reaction, that is by interhalogen compound. We can write it as CCl4 reacted with AgF. It gets converted into CCl3F, which on further with AgF gets converted into CCl2F2. Right? It's an interhalogen replacement. When your internal halogens are replaced, there's a Stuart's reaction. Through it, it can be prepared. This particular component, it's a non-reactive, non-corrosive, and it is used in the refrigerant or for the air conditions. And again, they are having the same, the one which we already studied. When they are exposed, they go into the atmosphere. where they carried out the chain reaction, free radical chain reaction, and depleted the natural ozone layer, which is very harmful for us, right? So it should be again as an one of the component that is being used, right? The next one we are having it, which is already nowadays banned throughout the world, right? And that compound is DDT. The full name of this compound is P dichloro diphenyl trichloroethene. P dichloro diphenyl trichloroethene, that is DDT. How its structure is there, or why the name is given out like that? Let's see first of all the structure, then we will go it for the preparation. See, we are having it as a dichloro. These first two chlorine atoms we are taking it. Dichloro. These are the two phenyl groups, because this is my main chain. Two carbons. Ethane. So these are the functional groups. P dash, para dash. Dichloro diphenyl. Then these are the three chlorine atoms. So the name is given out as trichloro, and two carbon atoms ethane. So the name was written out as P dash dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. How we can get it as a formation? Preparation of it. We take it as an CCl3CHO. This compound is known as chloral. It's termed as chloral. This compound, when it is reacted with chlorobenzene, at that time, this CCl3, C, H, the double bonded oxygen which is present in it, it's been removed out. Right? Both the oxygen is removed. Oxygen is removed from the para position, two hydrogens are there. So that will remove it as an H2O. And both these components, they will attach itself from para position to it, and it will be producing it as an dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. In the ancient times, it was been used as an insecticides, right? Later on it was found that it is very useful. So up till after the Second World War, the use has been very, very large. It was much more used, right? But later on in 1960s, the scientists found out that this component is highly stable. It does not decompose itself very fast. It takes hundreds and thousands of years to decompose itself, the molecules. And it is harmful not only to the human life, it is also harmful to the aquatics and everywhere, to the animal kingdom. And therefore, later on, it was told by throughout the world that the use or the application of this component should be stopped, right? So its alternate option was also necessary to be studied, and they found it out that its alternate option in place of DDT nowadays, the compound that is used as its alternate option is BHC, benzene hexachloride or hexachlorocyclohexene, where particularly the structure we are having it is a particularly we termed it as an gamexine. What we are using it, a white colored chalk that is being used, or a powder that is being used as an insecticides, right? So that is its alternate option that has been there in place of DDT, which is very harmful to the human lives or animal kingdom. So this has been used, right? So like that you can read it in all these things, you can see it in your textbook. They are given out in the polyhalite compounds as a paragraph. You can go through, you can underline them, learn them, and uses and harmful effects are there to be studied for it, right? So that's all what we are having it for the chapter number 10 for the alkyl and aryl halides. In our next lecture we will be studying it related to the next chapter of the organic compound, alcohol, phenols and ethers. Till then, thank you.